At her graduation party, she thanked her stepdad and humiliated me. So I left and took everything. Welcome to Whisper Wire, where silence carries more weight than 1,000 words. She grabbed the mic at her graduation party, held up the car keys her stepdad gave her, and told 50 people I'd never done anything for her. She knew I was there. She looked me in the eyes. So I smiled and left. But the next morning, her college fund vanished. And that shiny new car? Gone. You want to hear how it all unraveled? Let's begin. At my daughter's graduation party, she announced, "My stepdad bought me a car. My real dad never did anything." I smiled and left. The next morning, her college fund was empty, and the gift car got repossessed. My ex-wife has been calling nonstop. Hey viewers, welcome to the channel. We're just getting started, and your support means a lot. If you enjoy these stories, please consider subscribing and help us reach our first 1,000 subscribers. Thanks for being here. Hey Reddit, this story is going to make you absolutely furious before it gets satisfying. Trust me on this one. My daughter Emma just graduated high school last weekend. 18 years old, valedictorian, got a full academic scholarship to State University. I was proud as hell driving to her graduation party at my ex-wife Sarah's house. What I didn't expect was to get completely destroyed in front of 50 people by the kid I'd been supporting her entire life. Sarah and I divorced when Emma was 7. We kept things civil for Emma's sake, agreed on shared custody, and I moved 20 minutes away. Every other weekend, Wednesday dinners, never missed a child support payment in 11 years. When Sarah married Derek 4 years ago, I figured it was good for Emma to have a stable home with 2 parents. Derek sells commercial insurance and acts like he's some Fortune 500 executive, always posting on social media about his investments and business ventures. Drives a leased BMW, rents a house in the expensive part of town. But here's the thing. Derek's actually pretty good at making money. He just spends it faster than he makes it. Lives paycheck to paycheck, despite decent income, because he has to maintain this image. I never just paid child support, though. I'd been putting money into a 529 college savings plan in my name since Emma was born. 18 years of contributions, plus compound interest sitting at just over $91,000. Sarah knew about it. Emma knew about it. And I'd been calling it Emma's college money since she was little. Legally, though, the account was mine until I decided to transfer it. I also paid Emma's car insurance, phone bill, half her dance lessons, and school expenses. When she wanted that expensive photography class junior year, I paid for it. New laptop for school, I bought it. Senior trip to New York, I covered it. Emma needed something. I provided it. No questions asked. So, I show up to the graduation party with a professional camera as a gift since Emma's been talking about minoring in photography. The backyard was packed with classmates, teachers, neighbors, family members. I was talking to some other parents, having a beer. Everything seemed normal. About an hour in, Derek stands up and taps his beer bottle with a knife. Everyone goes quiet and gathers around the deck where he's standing with Emma. I want to thank everyone for coming to celebrate Emma's incredible achievement. He starts, arm around Emma's shoulders. As her stepdad, I couldn't be more proud of the young woman she's become. He pulls out car keys and dangles them in the air. Emma, those keys belong to the brand new Honda Civic sitting in the driveway. It's yours, sweetheart. Emma screams and hugs Derek, jumping up and down. Everyone's clapping and cheering. I clapped too, even though I was annoyed Derek hadn't given me a heads up about such a big gift. But it was nice, and Emma deserved it. Then Emma grabs the microphone Derek had been using. "Thank you so much, Derek," she says, her voice carrying over the entire backyard. "You know, growing up, I always wondered what it would feel like to have a dad who actually cared about me." I'm standing there, starting to feel uncomfortable, but I figure she's just excited. "Someone who would do things like this," she continues, holding up the keys. "Someone who would make grand gestures and show me I mattered." Now I'm getting a bad feeling. Emma's looking right at me while she talks. "My stepdad bought me a car," she says, still staring at me. "My real dad never did anything like this." I guess now I know what it feels like to have someone who actually wants to invest in my future. The entire party goes dead silent. 50 people looking between Emma and me. My cousin Jake looks like he wants to throw his beer at someone. Some of the parents are staring at the ground, clearly uncomfortable. But Emma's not done. She's on a roll now. And I realize this isn't excitement. This is planned. I just want to thank Derek for stepping up and being the father figure I never had. She says for caring enough to make sure I have what I need. It means everything to me. She hands the microphone back to Derek, who's standing there with this smug grin on his face. Sarah won't even look at me. She's staring at her shoes like she wants to disappear. I knew exactly what had happened. Derek had been working on this for the past year, convincing Emma that he was the real parent, that I was just some guy who showed up occasionally. And it had worked. I stood there for about 10 seconds just processing. 50 people had just watched my daughter tell everyone that I'd never done anything for her, that I wasn't a real father, that her stepdad was better than me in every way. I could have made a scene, could have listed everything I'd done for Emma over the years, could have reminded everyone about the college fund, the insurance, the phone bills, the countless school projects and late-night drives to friends' houses. Instead, I just smiled, walked over to Emma, and gave her a hug. "Congratulations, sweetheart," I said. "I'm really proud of you." Then I walked out. No drama, no yelling, no confrontation. Got in my car and drove home. The whole drive back, I was thinking about what Emma had said, about Derek investing in her future, about him caring enough to make sure she had what she needed, about how I'd never done anything like that. When I got home, I sat down at my computer and started making calls. The college fund was a 529 plan in my name, which meant I had complete control over it. I'd always planned to use it for Emma's education, but legally it was my money to manage. I called my insurance company and scheduled Emma's removal from my auto policy for the end of the month. Called the phone company and set up her removal from my plan for the same date. If Derek was going to be her father figure, he could handle the day-to-day stuff too. Monday morning, I transferred the entire college fund balance into my personal investment account. $91,437. Then I did some research on Emma's new car, because something felt off about Derek's grand gesture. After some digging, I found out the truth. Derek hadn't bought Emma a car. He'd co-signed for a loan where Emma was the primary borrower. The monthly payment was $340, and Emma had no job or income to cover it. Derek had apparently planned to make the payments temporarily until Emma got a part-time job, but the bank required proof of Emma's ability to eventually take over payments. As her father, I was listed as a financial reference on the loan application. Derek had used my income and financial stability as part of Emma's loan qualification without telling me. When the bank called to verify information as part of their routine follow-up, I told them the truth, that I wouldn't be providing any financial support for Emma's expenses going forward, and that Derek would be handling all of that now. The bank got nervous. An 18-year-old with no job, no credit history, and no family financial backing is a huge risk. They started asking Derek uncomfortable questions about his ability to make the payments long-term. Derek had apparently told them he could handle it temporarily, but when they pressed him for financial documentation, things got messy fast. His debt-to-income ratio was already maxed out from his lifestyle expenses. 2 weeks later, Emma's car was gone. The bank had demanded either full payment or return of the vehicle when Derek couldn't provide adequate financial backing for the loan. Sarah called me that afternoon, furious. Emma's car got repossessed, she said. The bank is saying you told them you wouldn't support her financially anymore. That's right, I said. Emma made it very clear that Derek is her real father now. He's the one who invests in her future, who makes grand gestures, who actually cares about her. So, I figured it was time for him to take over all the responsibilities. You're being ridiculous, Sarah said. She's 18. She said something thoughtless in excitement. Sarah. Emma didn't say those things in excitement. She planned them. She looked right at me and told 50 people that I'd never done anything for her. That Derek was the father I never was. So now Derek gets to be her father in every way that counts. The phone went quiet for a few seconds. What about her college fund? Sarah asked, her voice smaller now. What about it? She's counting on that money for college expenses, not covered by the scholarship. And Derek needs to provide it. He's her father now, remember? Sarah hung up on me. The calls started coming in waves after that. Derek called me that evening, and he was angry. What did you tell the bank? He demanded. The truth, I said, that Emma has a new father now, and that father is responsible for her finances. I never said I was replacing you as her father. He said, you didn't have to say it. You just had to let Emma say it while you stood there smiling and accepting all the credit. Look, I can't afford that car payment long-term, he said. I was hoping Emma would get a job and take it over. Then you shouldn't have co-signed for something you couldn't afford. What about the college fund? He asked. She needs that money. That's my money that I was planning to give to Emma. But Emma made it clear she doesn't think I've ever done anything for her. So why would I give her money? This is insane. Derek said, you're punishing a kid for being grateful to her stepdad. I'm not punishing anyone, I said. I'm just letting you be the father Emma says she always wanted. You wanted the credit. Now you get the responsibility. Derek hung up on me. Emma called me the next day, crying. Dad, why did you take my college money? She asked between sobs. Emma, you're 18 years old. You stood up in front of everyone and told them that Derek was your real father, that he was the one who invested in your future, that I'd never done anything for you. But I didn't mean it like that. She said, how did you mean it, Emma? Because you looked right at me when you said those things. You weren't talking to Derek. You weren't talking to your mom. You were talking to me. You wanted to make sure I heard every word. I was just excited about the car. She said, the car that got repossessed because Derek couldn't actually afford it. Emma was quiet. Emma, do you understand what happened? Derek made a grand gesture with money he didn't have, using my financial stability as backing for your loan, and then let you humiliate me in front of everyone. And now that there are real consequences, he can't step up. I'm sorry, she said. I didn't mean to hurt you. Emma, I've been hurt before. This isn't about my feelings. This is about you making a choice. You chose Derek as your father. Now you get to live with that choice. But what about college? She asked. What about it? Derek will figure it out. He's your father now. She hung up on me. Over the next week, things got interesting. Emma's friend started posting on social media about how unfair it all was, how I was a terrible father for abandoning my daughter. But my cousin Jake, who'd been at the party, posted the real story about how Emma had planned those words, how she'd looked right at me when she said them. Sarah called me Friday night. Emma's working double shifts at the restaurant where she got a summer job. She said she's trying to save money for college expenses. Good for her, I said. Sounds like she's learning responsibility. Derek says he can help with some of the costs, but not all of it, Sarah said. How much can he help with? I asked. He's thinking maybe he can cover her textbooks and supplies. So, the man who is going to invest in her future can cover maybe $2,000 in expenses. He's doing his best. Sarah said, Sarah, I put away over $90,000 for Emma's future. Derek can maybe manage textbooks. Do you see the difference? She made a mistake, Sarah said, and now she's learning that mistakes have consequences. Derek called me Saturday, and his tone was completely different. Less angry, more desperate. Look, he said, maybe we can work something out. Emma's really struggling with this college money situation. Derek, you told everyone at that party that you were the one investing in Emma's future. You bought her a car to prove it. So, invest in her future. I can't come up with $90,000. He said, then maybe you shouldn't have convinced Emma that you were better than her real father. I never said I was better than you. He said, you didn't have to say it. You just had to let Emma say it while you stood there accepting the praise. Come on, man. Don't make Emma suffer for something that got out of hand. I'm not making Emma suffer, I said. I'm holding her accountable for her choices. She chose you as her father. Now you get to be her father. He hung up. Emma showed up at my house the following Sunday. She looked exhausted, like she'd been working nonstop and not sleeping well. Dad, can we talk? She asked. Sure, I said. Come in. We sat in my living room, and she started crying. I know I messed up, she said. I know what I said was wrong. Emma, I'm not angry with you, I said. I'm disappointed, but I'm not angry. Then why won't you help me with college? Because you made a choice. I said, you chose Derek as your father. You told everyone that I'd never done anything for you. You can't have it both ways, Emma. You can't publicly reject me as your father and then privately expect me to keep paying for your life. But I need help, she said, and Derek needs to provide it. He can't afford it, she said quietly. Emma, let me ask you something. How much do you think I've spent on you over the years? I don't know, she said. Between child support, insurance, your phone, school expenses, activities, and the college fund, it's probably close to $200,000 over 18 years. Derek bought you a car he couldn't afford and let it get repossessed. Do you see the difference? Emma was quiet for a long time. I really messed up, didn't I? She said finally. Yes, you did. Is there any way to fix this? Emma, you didn't just hurt my feelings. You publicly humiliated me in front of family, friends, and neighbors. You told everyone that I'd never done anything for you. Do you have any idea how that felt? I'm sorry, she said. I know you are. But sorry doesn't undo what happened. Sorry doesn't change the fact that you let Derek manipulate you into turning against me. So, what happens now? She asked. Now you figure out how to pay for college without my help. You wanted Derek to be your father, so Derek gets to handle your expenses. But he can't do what you did. She said, then maybe you should have thought about that before you decided I wasn't good enough to be your father. Emma left after that. She didn't argue or make a scene. She just left, looking defeated. It's been 3 weeks now, and the situation has evolved. Emma's working full-time at the restaurant and has applied for additional student loans to cover her living expenses. She's also applied for work-study programs at college to help with costs. Derek, meanwhile, has been conspicuously absent from the whole college funding conversation. Turns out, his ability to invest in Emma's future was limited to making grand gestures he couldn't actually afford. Sarah calls me every few days, usually to guilt me about Emma's situation. Yesterday, she tried a different approach. Emma's learned her lesson. She said she knows she was wrong. Isn't that enough, Sarah? This isn't about teaching Emma a lesson. This is about the fact that Emma made a choice. She chose Derek as her father figure. Now Derek gets to figure out how to support her. But Derek can't provide what you can, she said. Exactly, I said. And maybe Emma should have considered that before she publicly rejected me. The truth is, I do feel bad about Emma's situation. But I also recognize that she's 18 years old and made an adult decision to humiliate me publicly. Now she gets to live with the adult consequences of that decision. Emma wanted Derek to be her father, so Derek can figure out how to pay for her college. I'm done being the financial safety net for someone who thinks I never did anything for them. I've got $91,000 that I was planning to give to someone who appreciated me. Now I'm thinking about that fishing boat I always wanted. Or maybe I'll just invest it and retire a little earlier. Either way, Emma made her choice at that graduation party. Now she gets to live with "she called me crying." But by then, I'd already bought a boat. She said she was sorry, said she didn't mean it, but she meant it enough to say it in front of everyone. So I let her new father figure step up. Turns out, he only had gestures, not resources. Now she's working double shifts, filling out loan forms, and realizing that credit fades faster than loyalty. I was going to give her $91,000. Now I'm thinking, maybe it's time I bought that fishing boat. Subscribe to Whisperwire, where the quietest endings echo the loudest.